It is currently 8:30 and I consider that to be pretty late. Usually I'm like laying in bed and getting ready to go to sleep. I know, kind of a grandma. In today's video, I thought it'd be a cool idea for us to just color, create some art, and talk about burnout and inspiration. So I have this coloring book. It's like of the human body. I got it from Barnes & Noble. It has like the parts of the body and then also what that part does. It's a cool way to learn and to just kind of relax and chill out. I've also got a glass of Moscato. I love Stella Rose Moscato. We're gonna be sipping on that and we're just gonna be talking about what it means to be burnt out and uninspired and how to get your spark back, because I feel like this is where I'm at currently in my journey. I mentioned it before, but this past year of my life, I have been the most disconnected from my dreams and from my habits, my rituals that I have ever been in my life. And now I feel like I'm on a journey of rediscovery and reconnecting with the things that matter to me most. Would it be weird if I just colored it what I wanted to color it? Like, I don't know if that's like the point of this though. Whatever, we're gonna do the spleen. Really what was my breaking point in this past year was realizing that I didn't have to put myself in a small box and that I can think bigger than just having stability. I come from a childhood where financial stability did not really exist and neither did emotional stability. My parents divorced at a young age and spent pretty much my entire childhood fighting about where my sister and I would live. So I don't know, entering my adulthood and not going the traditional route of going to college, I pretty much had to decide my own path. And I knew that I always wanted to do something that was creative, that would allow me the flexibility to travel, that I would feel free in doing, that I could create my own schedule. And so when I stumbled upon wedding photography, I was like, okay, I'm locked in, this is for me. I just wanted so badly to fit in something that felt like a traditional route, something that I knew that if I did A, then I did B, then I did C, like eventually I would reach success. And honestly, I realized that I was playing really, really small. And I questioned myself through the past year. I always felt like, okay, like why am I not working on my habits? Why am I not getting up at 6 a.m. to go to the gym? Why am I allowing myself to feel bad? Why am I allowing myself to enter spaces where I don't even feel like myself, where I was putting on a role of a person that I didn't really identify with so much that I felt like I literally became that person. It wasn't until I had the click in my mind, the realization that I could have more, that I didn't just have to have financial stability, that I could have financial freedom, that I could go after my dreams, that I didn't have to just accept the bare minimum, when my burnout became more of a realization that I was simply just uninspired and I needed to pivot. I was reading the book, The Artist's Way, and one thing she mentions in the first chapter is the concept of shadow artists. And essentially what shadow artists are people who have a desire to be something, but they can't do it because of their negative core beliefs. Instead of going after their dreams, they will flock to people who are in the industry that they truly desire to be in, or something very similar. They love artists, essentially. They will enter into careers that are near the art form that they like, that they want to be in, but are not quite in that art form. I knew that photography wasn't what I wanted. I wanted to be making videos. I remember like having moments where I would be shooting weddings and I'd be like, well, what if I just start shooting wedding videos instead of wedding photos? When really like my inner voice was telling me like, you need to be in front of the camera. So after I realized that I needed to pivot, that I wasn't burnt out, that I was responsible for the negative feelings that I had been feeling over the past year, once I realized that it was tied to not being passionate about what I was pursuing and not feeling like I was making any progress on my dreams and that I was completely uninspired, what I'm realizing, creativity isn't something that you can just decide to do. It's something that you have to nurture and foster, because our creative journeys are like our relationships. You meet and you have to get acquainted and you have to get to know it, and then you have to date it, you have to pour into it, and you have to continue to foster that relationship. And you have to do all of the right things in order for that relationship to grow. And it's different from person to person, but the lesson that I'm learning is that creativity is cultivated. And not only is creativity cultivated, wisdom is also cultivated. Lessons and realizations and moments of inspiration do not simply come to you. You really have to facilitate the environment for those wisdoms and those downloads to happen to you. And one way that I've been trying to cultivate ways that I channel wisdom is by pouring into myself first. And there are so many different ways that you can work on your creativity, and I think it's different person to person. Like for me, I know that I'm in a better space to have creative thoughts, to work on my creative journey if I'm getting up in the morning, if I am doing my spiritual yoga and meditation practice, if I am reading, if I am consuming art, if I am journaling. Wisdom strikes me if I am doing literally most of the same things, because I feel like creativity is also wisdom in a way. You have to create the right environment to receive what you are looking for. You can't just expect it to happen upon you. Another thing I've been realizing is that shifting into your dream reality and going after your dream life and just facilitating change in your life, it really does start with a spark. Like you have to have a moment where you decide that you're not going to let anything get in the way of going after what you want, and you have to do the work. It's almost like if you watch a movie, most movies follow the hero's journey, and essentially you're introduced to the character and then something happens to the character, which is called the inciting incident, which is like essentially the spark, the catalyst. And then after that, the character usually goes through a period of rising action. Either they're going to the new school and they're training, or they are starting a new job, or they're switching families, or whatever it is. Literally, there is an inciting incident, a spark, a catalyst that shifts them into going after their new reality. And then by the end of the movie, they've changed from the person they started as completely, a 180. I don't feel like in real life a spark has to be dramatic. I feel like it just has to be a decision that you make right now, right here, every single day, to dedicate yourself to changing your circumstance. And I know I touched on this, but I feel like a lot of the time when we feel like something in our life isn't going right, that we just need to change our action. I think that's true to a certain degree, but I also feel like we have to slow down and really look at our situation and understand why we are feeling like our life isn't going right in the first place. And then you can change your action. I don't know, I feel like we tend to skip over the mental pieces when ultimately, like, for me and my experience, I thought I was burnt out. I thought I just needed to give myself a break, and then I could hop back into working on my business and working on my photography, when really I needed to pivot because I was uninspired. I needed to change my course of direction. And if I would have just taken action and given myself a break from photography, I would have resulted in the same cycle over and over again. Just take a moment to really look at your circumstance and use methods of self-reflection in order to determine why you're feeling the way that you're feeling in the first place. So if you're like me and you feel like you're in a place where you have been uninspired and you need to pivot, you need to change something in your life, here are a few tips to reignite that spark, reignite your passion for life, and make your life a little bit more colorful. The first tip I have is create routine for yourself. So like I mentioned, wisdom, creativity, it's all cultivated. And a key factor in discovering my spirituality and my creativity is creating routine for myself, because I genuinely feel like if I don't have a basic set of non-negotiables that I do on a daily practice to create a sense of being rooted or grounded, then I won't have the capacity to understand the spiritual and creative lessons that I'm going through ultimately. So waking up at 6 a.m. and going to the gym and making sure to do my yoga practice and my morning pages are all foundational into me growing as a person. And it also just makes you feel like you have your shit together. It makes you feel like you are making progress towards your goals. So if you're feeling like your life is sort of colorless, I recommend just having some sort of structure. And that doesn't have to be strict. It can simply be waking up and going on a walk and having a coffee every morning. Just having something for you to look forward to that brings you some feeling of calm is going to change your life. The next tip I have is go after your burning desires. I feel like we naturally gravitate towards our calling. Your calling does not have to be in the realm of money at all. You don't have to monetize your calling. But I simply believe that each and every one of us have gifts, and if we tune into ourselves, we can very clearly see what our gifts are. Whether it is creating videos, whether it's public speaking, whether it's giving to people in need, or it's simply just being a kind person, I feel like we should be giving in to the things that make us most passionate. And so this is just your reminder to try to do that thing. Even if you've never done it before or you have done it a lot, like literally just prioritize doing the things that make you the happiest, even if it has no societal value. You know what I mean? Like even if you don't make a lot of money off of it or you don't get a following off of it, just do the things that really make you happy. I need a sip of wine. The next tip that I have is to challenge yourself. I feel like time goes faster and you get bored a lot easier if you're not open to new experiences, if you're not open to trying new things and meeting new people. Whether you're trying to learn something new or you're trying to create more, literally challenge yourself. Challenge yourself to grow. And honestly, you could even challenge yourself simply by asking yourself the questions that you've never asked before and writing them in a journal. This will give you a sense of excitement and cause you to want to have more curiosity towards life and towards your own capabilities. The next tip I have for getting your spark back is meet new people. I don't think that we realize that meeting new people teaches us a lot about ourselves. I personally have dealt with social anxiety a lot, and so much to the point that I used to be known for always canceling plans. But that was before I shifted my mindset and realize that meeting new people teaches us a lot about who we are as people. It teaches us what we like and what we don't like. It teaches us what we value in ourselves and in each other. You never know what can come out of meeting a new person, how they might help you and how you might help them. And honestly, when you do meet new people, make sure that you are being genuinely curious. So you can use Bumble BFF, you can go up to somebody in a coffee shop, you can DM somebody on Instagram. The next thing that I'm actually implementing is making sure to take time to literally do nothing. When we were kids, we had so much free time to literally just try whatever we wanted. And oftentimes when we had that free time was when we were the most creative. I think we need to normalize time to play and time to explore for adults. So often it's really hard to hear our own inner voice and to learn about ourselves because we're constantly being distracted by TV, social media, other people. So taking time to do nothing can teach you a lot about yourself. You might really get really inspired in that time. It's so easy for me whenever I have free time to literally just spend it watching YouTube or movies, but it's a challenge and it's something that we need to be doing more so that we get to know ourselves better. And this last tip that I have for you is almost the opposite of what I just said, but to also invest time into consuming art. More so, I think that we should be consuming art that inspires us and that creates conversations, because this is when you begin to form your own perspective. And I personally love movies. I love A24 movies. I feel like I always get something from them, and I also always have a lot to say. And then of course books, whatever you're interested in. My point is literally just to consume media that creates dialogue. It's really fun to entertain ourselves with reality TV and spicy romance books, but it's also good to consume media that drives us to think deeper about our places in the world. I feel like when I do this, I usually have a lot of wisdom and downloads that hit me, and I'm able to talk about them with the people in my life. There are certain books and movies that I've consumed that have changed me as a person and that I reference often and that have helped to almost like shape my identity and the way that I perceive the world. And I think that having more of this type of media in our lives make our life more colorful, make our life more vibrant and diverse and full of different perspective, which ultimately is what life is about. So that's all I have for you guys today. I just wanted to do a quick chat on creativity, burnout, and feeling inspired. I hope that you guys got something from this video and that maybe you saw something in a different perspective. Comment down something below that you feel like brought inspiration to your life or together that got your spark back, because I love to hear what you have to say so that I can also implement it into my life. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next week. Bye.